Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me right now. While you're chasing people who don't value you, someone else is ditching and becoming magnetic. While you're losing your mind over situations you can't control, they're staying calm and taking control of what matters. While you're explaining yourself to people who don't deserve explanations, they're letting people wonder and creating mystery that draws others in like a magnet. The most powerful person in any room isn't the loudest. It's the one who's learned to detach, stay calm, and let them wonder. TG Foundation of Strategic Detachment. You want to know the secret that separates powerful people from powerless people? Winners from losers? Those who control their destiny from those who get controlled by circumstances? It's not what you think. It's not money. It's not connections. It's not even talent. It's the ability to detach, stay calm, and let them wonder. Most people are emotional slaves to their circumstances. They react to everything. They chase everyone. They explain themselves to anybody who questions them. They lose their minds over things they can't control. But the truly powerful, they've mastered the art of detachment. They've learned the strength of staying calm. They understand the magnetism of mystery. They know that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. When I say detach, I don't mean become cold or uncaring. I mean become strategic. I mean stop giving your energy to people and situations that drain you. I mean quit chasing what's not meant for you. I mean cease explaining yourself to people who've already made up their minds about you. When I say stay calm, I don't mean become passive. I mean become centered. I mean develop the inner strength that can't be shaken by external chaos. I mean cultivate the peace that comes from knowing who you are and what you're worth. When I say let them wonder, I don't mean play games. I mean become so focused on your own growth and goals that people that can't help but be curious about what you're up to. I mean, create such positive change in your life that others wonder what your secret is. I mean, move in such silence that your success makes more noise than your words ever could. This isn't about being antisocial or distant. This is about being selective, wise. This is about understanding that your energy is finite and precious, and you must guard it like the treasure it is. This is about recognizing that not every battle is worth fighting, not every person is worth chasing, and not every situation deserves your emotional investment. The moment you learn to detach from what doesn't serve you, stay calm in the midst of chaos, and let people wonder, instead of constantly explaining yourself, you tap into a power that most people never discover. You activate a magnetic force that draws the right people and opportunities to you while repelling the wrong ones. You develop an inner strength that becomes unshakable. Most people are addicted to drama. They're hooked on chaos. They're dependent on other people's validation and approval. They live their lives in reaction mode, constantly responding to whatever crisis or conflict presents itself. They're like pinballs, bouncing from one emotional extreme to another, never finding their center, never discovering their power here. But when you master the art of strategic detachment, when you learn to stay calm regardless of circumstances, when you understand the magnetic power of mystery, you step into a different league. You operate from a different level. You play a different game. Think about the people you respect most. Think about the individuals who command attention without demanding it. Think about those who seem to have an invisible force field around them that attracts success and repels negativity. What do they all have in common? They've learned to detach from what they can't control. They've mastered the art of staying calm under pressure. They understand that mystery is more magnetic than explanation. They know that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. They've discovered that when you stop chasing the right thing, start chasing you. Easy power here of emotional, EML detachment. Emotional detachment is not about becoming heartless or indifferent. It's about becoming strategic with your emotions. It's about understanding that every emotional reaction costs you energy, and energy is your most valuable reserve. It's about learning to observe your emotions without being enslaved by them. It's about developing the ability to feel deeply while thinking clearly. Most people are controlled by their emotions. They make decisions based on how they feel in the moment. They react impulsively to situations that trigger them. They allow their emotional state to be determined by external circumstances and other people's behavior. But emotional detachment gives you the power to choose your responses instead of being a victim of your reactions. When someone disrespects you, emotional attachment says, I must defend myself immediately. Emotional detachment says, this person's opinion of me is not my reality. When someone betrays your trust, emotional attachment says, I must make them pay. Emotional detachment says their character is revealed, and I can now make informed decisions about this relationship. When someone doesn't appreciate your efforts, emotional attachment says, I must convince them of my value. And emotional detachment says my worth is not determined by their recognition. Do you see the difference? Emotional attachment keeps you trapped in reactive patterns. Emotional detachment gives you the freedom to choose your response based on wisdom rather than emotion. Emotional detachment allows you to see situations clearly instead of through the fog of intense feelings. When you're emotionally attached to outcomes, you can't think strategically. When you're invested in other people's opinions, you can't make decisions that serve your best interests. When you're controlled by your emotions, you give away your power. But when you learn to detach, you reclaim your ability to respond rather than react. You develop the capacity to pause, assess, and choose the response that serves your highest good. This doesn't mean you become cold or uncaring. It means you become selective about where you invest your emotional energy. It means you stop wasting your feelings on people who don't deserve them and situations you can't change. It means you redirect that energy toward your goals, your growth, and the relationships that actually add value to your life. Emotional detachment is like having a thermostat. Instead of a thermometer reacts to the temperature around it. A thermostat controls the temperature around it. Most people have thermometers constantly reacting to their emotional environment. Powerful people are thermostats, maintaining their emotional temperature regardless of external conditions. B, when you master emotional detachment, you develop what I call strategic distance. You learn to step back from situations that once consumed you. You develop the ability to observe drama without participating in it. You gain the wisdom to know when to engage and when to withdraw. You understand that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is create space. Sometimes the most powerful move is to step back. Sometimes the wisest choice is to let people figure things out without your interference. Whereas emotional detachment also protects you from energy vampires, those people who drain your emotional resources without giving anything valuable in return. When you're emotionally attached, you feel obligated to fix everyone's problems, solve everyone's issues, and be available for everyone's drama. But emotional detachment allows you to set healthy boundaries. It gives you permission to say no without guilt. It empowers you to choose who gets access to your emotional energy and who doesn't. The most successful people in the world have mastered emotional detachment. They don't take things personally. They don't get caught up in other people's opinions. They don't allow temporary circumstances to determine their permanent attitude. They understand that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. They feel their feelings without being controlled by them. They acknowledge their emotions without being enslaved by them. TSUNS calm in CHAOS. Staying calm is not about pretending problems don't exist or ignoring challenges. It's about maintaining your center when everything around you is falling apart. It's about developing an inner stability that external chaos cannot destroy. It's about cultivating a peace that passes understanding, a tranquility that transcends circumstances. Most people's emotional state is determined by their external environment. When things are going well, they're happy. When things get difficult, they're stressed. When people treat them well, they feel good. When people mistreat them, they feel bad. But this makes them emotional slaves to circumstances and other people's behavior. True power comes from developing an inner calm that remains constant regardless of external conditions. This calm is not passive, it's powerful. It's not weak, it's strong, it's not indifferent, it's strategic. When you can stay calm while others are losing their minds, you have a tremendous advantage. You can think clearly while they're thinking emotionally. You can make wise decisions while they're making impulsive choices. You can see opportunities while they're seeing only problems. Staying calm in chaos gives you what I call situational clarity. When everyone else is panicking, you can assess the situation objectively. When others are reacting emotionally, you can respond strategically. When people are making decisions based on fear, you can make decisions based on wisdom. This clarity becomes your companion. It allows you to see solutions that others miss. It enables you to identify opportunities that others overlook. It empowers you to navigate challenges that defeat other answers. But staying calm is a skill that must be developed. It requires practice, discipline, and commitment. Most people only practice staying calm when things are already calm, which is like only practicing swimming when you're not in water. You must practice staying calm specifically when things get chaotic. You must train yourself to maintain your center when everything around you is spiraling. You must develop the ability to find peace in the eye of the storm. One of the most powerful aspects of staying calm is that it's contagious. When you remain calm in a crisis, you become an anchor for others. People naturally gravitate toward those who exude peace and stability. Your calm becomes their refuge. Your peace becomes their stressancy. Your stability becomes their asgard. Asgard. This makes you a natural leader because people want to follow someone who can maintain their composure under pressure. Staying calm also prevents you from making decisions you'll regret later. Most mistakes are made in emotional states when we're angry, frustrated, desperate, or afraid. When you can stay calm, you give yourself time to think before you act. You create space between stimulus and response. You allow wisdom to override emotion. You make decisions based on long-term consequences rather than short-term feelings. Calmness is also magnetic. People are drawn to those who seem to have their lives together. They're attracted to individuals who don't seem rattled by life's ups and downs. They respect people who can handle pressure without falling apart. When you master the art of staying calm, you develop a quiet confidence that speaks louder than words. You exude a strength that doesn't need to prove itself. You radiate a power that doesn't need to be annuncied. The key to staying calm is understanding what you can and cannot control. When you focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your responses, you feel empowered. When you focus on what you can't control, other people's behavior, external circumstances, past events, you feel helpless. Calm people have learned to invest their energy only in what they can influence. They've learned to accept what they cannot change and focus their efforts on what they can. Teasy, magnetic mystery of silency. Let them wonder. These three words contain more power than most people realize. In a world where everyone is oversharing, over-explaining, and desperately seeking validation, those who understand the power of mystery stand out. There's something magnetic about people who don't feel the need to explain themselves to everyone. There's something attractive about individuals who let their actions speak louder than their words. There's something powerful about those who understand that sometimes the best response is no response at all, AL. When you let people wonder, you create intrigue. You become interesting. You make people curious about what you're up to, what you're thinking, what your next move will be. This curiosity becomes a form of power. Instead of chasing people's attention, their attention chases you. Instead of begging for recognition, recognition finds you. Instead of demanding respect flows to you naturally. Most people have a compulsive need to explain themselves. When someone questions their decisions, they launch into lengthy justifications. When someone criticizes their choices, they feel obligated to defend themselves. When someone doesn't understand their actions, they exhaust themselves trying to make them understand. But here's what they don't realize. People who matter don't need explanations, and people who need explanations don't matter. Letting them wonder doesn't mean being secretive or dishonest. It means being selective about what you share and with whom you share it. It means understanding that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your plans, your struggles. or you're victorious. It means recognizing that some people ask questions not because they care, but because they're nosy. Some people want to know your business, not to support you, but to find ways to sabotage you. When you master the art of letting people wonder, you develop what I call strategic mystery. You become someone who operates in silence and lets success make the noise. You become someone who moves without announcing every move. You become someone who achieves without needing to broadcast every achievement. This mystery makes you more attractive, more respected, and more powerful. There's also tremendous strength in not feeling the need to defend yourself against every criticism or accusation. When you constantly explain and justify yourself, you give power to other people's opinions. You make their approval a prerequisite for your peace. You allow their understanding to become necessary for your confidence. But when you let them wonder, you maintain your power. You keep your peace. You preserve your energy. People who understand the power of mystery know that actions speak louder than explanations. They know that results are more convincing than arguments. They know that success is more powerful than justification. They focus their energy on creating positive change in their lives rather than convincing others that the change is necessary. Letting people wonder also protects you from energy vampires, those individuals who want to know your business only to gossip about it, criticize it, or interfere with it. When you share too much, you invite unwanted opinions, unsolicited advice, and unnecessary drama. When you let people wonder, you maintain your privacy, protect your plans, and preserve your peace. There's also something deeply attractive about people who don't seem needy for attention or validation. When you're not constantly seeking approval, you become more appealing. When you're not desperately trying to be understood, you become more intriguing. When you're not explaining every decision, you seem more confident. This confidence becomes magnetic and draws the right people and opportunities to you. Tiaji Sridhajik withdrawal from D-Rama, one of the most powerful applications of detach. Stay calm. Let them wonder is the strategic withdrawal from drama. Drama is emotional quicksand. The more you struggle against it, the deeper you sink. The more you engage with it, the more it consumes you. The more you try to fix it, the more complicated it becomes. But when you learn to detach from drama, stay calm in the midst of chaos, and let people wonder why you're not participating in their emotional circus, you reclaim your power. Drama is everywhere because drama is addictive. Some people are addicted to creating it. Others are addicted to participating in it. Still others are addicted to trying to solve it. But drama is like a fighter. It needs fuel to survive. When you stop feeding it with your attention, your energy, your emotional reactions, it eventually dies out. When you refuse to participate, you remove yourself as a fuel source for other people's CHOS. Detaching from drama doesn't mean you don't care about people. It means you care about them enough to refuse to enable their dysfunctional patterns. It means you love them enough to not participate in behavior that's harmful to both of you. It means you respect yourself enough to protect your energy from being drained by negativity. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to stop participating in their drama. When you withdraw from drama, people will try to pull you back in, then accuse you of not caring. They'll say you're being distant or cold. They'll try to make you feel guilty for not getting involved. But this is exactly when you must stay calm and let them wonder. Don't explain why you're not participating. Don't justify your decision to stay out. Don't defend your choice to prioritize your peace. Let them wonder why you're so calm while they're so chaotic. Strategic withdrawal from drama also means not taking the BAIT. Some people will say things specifically to trigger an emotional response from you. They want to see you lose your cool. They want to drag you into their emotional storm. But when you understand their game, you can choose not to play. You can hear their words without reacting to them. You can observe their behavior without mirroring IT. You can witness their chaos without joining IT. This withdrawal is not permanent isolation. It's temporary distance that allows healing, growth, and clarity. Sometimes you need to step back from certain people or situations to gain perspective. Sometimes you need space to hear your own thoughts above the noise of other people's opinions. Sometimes you need distance to remember who you are without other people's drama defining WHO. That is, when you consistently withdraw from drama, you send a powerful message. You communicate that your peace is not negotiable. You demonstrate that your energy is valuable. You show that your time is precious. You teach people how to treat you by refusing to accept treatment that doesn't meet your standards. This boundary setting becomes a form of self-respect that others learn to respect. The beautiful thing about withdrawing from drama is that it creates space for positive people and experiences to enter your life. When you're not consumed by other people's problems, you have energy for your own goals. When you're not drained by negative interactions, you can invest in positive relationships. When you're not distracted by chaos, you can focus on what truly matters. TAZ Powerger, off selective, engaging, detaching, staying calm, and letting people wonder doesn't mean becoming a hermit. It means becoming selective about where you invest your time, energy, and attention. It means developing the wisdom to know when to engage and when to withdraw. It means understanding that not every invitation requires acceptance, not every question requires an answer, and not every challenge requires your participation. Selective engagement is about quality over quantity. It's better to have deep, meaningful interactions with a few people than surface-level interactions with many. It's better to invest deeply in relationships that add value to your life, Rod, than to spread yourself thin across connections that drain your energy. It's better to be fully present in a few important moments than partially present in many meaningless moments. When you become selective about engagement, you automatically become more valuable. Scarcity creates demand. When you're not available to everyone at all times, the time you do give becomes more precious. When you don't respond to every call, text, or invitation, the ones you do respond to carry more weight. When you're not constantly available, your availability becomes a privilege rather than an expectation. Selective engagement also means choosing your battles wisely. Not every disagreement is worth your energy. Not every injustice requires your intervention. Not every wrong needs to be righted by you. You must develop the wisdom to know which hills are worth dying on and which ones are better left unclimbed. This doesn't make you weak or indifferent. It makes you strategic. The key to selective engagement is developing clear criteria for what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Ask yourself, does this align with my values? Will this move me closer to my goals? Will this add value to my life? Will this person respect my boundaries and investment? If the answer is no, then the engagement is not worth your time. Selective engagement also applies to the information you consume. In today's world, we're bombarded with constant information, opinions, and distractions. Most of this information is not helpful, relevant, or necessary. When you become selective about what you allow into your mind, you protect your mental clarity and emotional stability. You choose to feed your mind information that empowers, educates, and elevates, rather than information that drains, distracts, and depresses. When you practice selective engagement, you develop what I call purposeful presence. When you do choose to engage, you're fully present. When you do invest your energy, you invest it completely. When you do participate, you participate with intention. This makes your interactions more meaningful, your relationships more valuable, and your impact more significant. People will respect your selective engagement more than your constant availability. They'll value your time more when they know it's not freely distanced. They'll appreciate your attention more when they understand it's intentionally directed. They'll respect your boundaries more when they see you consistently maintain them. Easy transformation through non-reaction. One of the most powerful aspects of detach, stay calm, let them wonder, is learning the art of non-reaction. Most people are controlled by their need to respond to everything immediately. Someone says something provocative and they must respond right away. Someone criticizes them and they must defend themselves. Someone challenges them and they must prove they're right. But non-reaction gives you a tremendous advantage. When you don't react, you don't give others power over your emotions. When you don't respond immediately, you give yourself time to choose the best response. When you don't feel compelled to defend every criticism, you maintain your inner peace. When you don't need to prove you're right, you can focus on being effective. Non-reaction is not about being passive or whack. It's about being strategic and powerful. Non-reaction forces others to confront their own behavior without being able to blame your response. When someone is looking for a fight and you don't fight back, they must face their own aggression. When someone is trying to provoke you and you remain calm, they must examine their own provocations. When someone is expecting drama and you give them peace, they must deal with their own need for CHAOS. This transformation is powerful because it breaks dysfunctional patterns. Most conflicts escalate because both parties keep reacting. Each reaction justifies the other person's next reaction. Each response fuels the other person's next response. But when you break the pattern by not reacting, you stop feeding the cyclist. You refuse to participate in the dance. You force the other person to dance alone. Non-reaction also reveals people's true intentions. When someone is genuinely seeking resolution, they'll appreciate your calm response. When someone is just looking for drama, they'll be frustrated by your peace. When someone truly cares about you, they'll respect your boundaries. When somebody just wants to use you, they'll be upset by your non-availability. The practice of non-reaction develops your inner strengths. Each time you choose not to react to provocation, you build your emotional muscle. Each time you remain calm in the face of chaos, you increase your psychological resilience. Each time you let people wonder, instead of explaining yourself, you strengthen your self-confidence. Non-reaction also creates space for wisdom. When you're not immediately reacting, you can access your higher thinking. You can consider long-term consequences instead of just immediate satisfaction. You can choose responses that serve your best interests rather than just expressing your current emotions. You can make decisions from a place of strength rather than weakness. People who master non-reaction develop a quiet power that's deeply ATTR-XD. They seem unshakable, centered, and in control of themselves. Others are drawn to this stability because it provides a sense of subsidiarity. They respect this self-control because they know how difficult it is to achieve. They trust this consistency because it demonstrates real reality. It is the magnetic attraction of authenticity. When you truly master the art of detaching, staying calm, and letting people wonder, something magical happens. You become authentically yourself. You stop performing for others' approval. You stop explaining yourself to gain understanding. You stop chasing validation from people who don't value you. Instead, you operate from a place of genuine self-knowledge and confidence. This authenticity becomes magnetic and attracts the right people while repelling the wrong ones. Authenticity is rare in a world full of people trying to be what they think others want them to be. Most people are constantly adjusting their personality, their opinions, and their behavior based on who they're with. They're different with different people. They say what they think others want to hear. They act how they think others want them to ACT. But this constant adjustment is exhausting and ultimately unfilling. When you detach from the need for constant approval, you can be genuinely yourself. You can express your real opinions without worrying about who might disagree. You can make decisions based on your values rather than other people's expectations. You can pursue your goals without needing everyone to understand or support them. This freedom to be authentic is incredibly liberating. Authentic people don't need to explain themselves because they're comfortable with who they are. They don't need to justify their choices because they make decisions based on their own values and priorities. They don't need constant validation because Their self-worth comes from within. This self-sufficiency is attractive because it demonstrates trustworthiness and independence. When you're authentic, you attract people who appreciate the real you. You don't have to worry about whether people will still like you when they see the real you because you've been real from the beginning. You don't have to maintain exhausting pretenses because you're not pretending. You don't have to remember different versions of yourself for different people because you're consistently the same person. Authenticity also means being honest about your boundaries. You don't pretend to be okay with things that bother you. You don't agree to commitments you can't or don't want to keep. You don't laugh at jokes. You don't find funny just to fit in. You don't participate in activities that don't align with your values. This honesty might make some people uncomfortable, but it attracts people who value integrity. The calm that comes from authenticity is unhackable because it's not dependent on external validation. When your peace comes from being true to yourself, other people's opinions can't disturb it. When your confidence comes from self-knowledge, other people's criticisms can't destroy it. When your happiness comes from living authentically, other people's behavior can't steal it. Authentic people let others wonder because they don't feel compelled to explain their authenticity to people who wouldn't appreciate it. They understand that those who matter will understand without explanation, and those who need explanation don't matter. Teach ultimate power of self-mastery, the ultimate goal of learning to detach, stay calm, and let them wonder is self-mastery. Self-mastery is the ability to govern your own thoughts, emotions, and actions regardless of external psychium. Stienescences. It's the power to choose your responses instead of being controlled by your reactions. It's the strength to maintain your center no matter what's happening around you. It's the wisdom to know when to engage and when to withdraw. It's the confidence to let your actions speak louder than your words. Self-mastery is not about perfection, it's about projection. It's not about never feeling emotions, it's about not being controlled by them. It's not about never making mistakes, it's about learning from them and not repeating them. It's not about being superhuman, it's about being fully human while operating from your highest potential. To achieve self-mastery, you become the director of your own life rather than a character in someone else's drama. You make conscious choices rather than unconscious reactions. You create your experiences rather than simply enduring them. You shape your destiny rather than accepting whatever life hands you. This level of personal power is what separates leaders from followers, creators from consumers, victors from victims. Self-mastery gives you what I call response action ability, the ability to choose your response. That most people are reactive, meaning their responses are determined by external stimuli. But self-mastery gives you a pause between stimulus and response where you can choose how to react. In that pause lies your freedom. In that choice lies your powers. People with self-mastery don't need to prove their power because their power is evident in their presence. They don't need to demand respect because their self-respect commands respect from others. They don't need to fight for their values because their actions demonstrate their worth. They don't need to announce their success because their results speak for themselves. Self-mastery also means mastering your Ian variant. Instead of being shaped by your circumstances, you shape your circumstances. Instead of being influenced by negative people, you influence them toward positivity. Instead of being drained by chaotic situations, you bring calm to the CHIOS. You become a thermostat rather than a thermometer, controlling the temperature instead of just reflecting IT. The journey to self-mastery requires discipline. You must discipline your thoughts to focus on what serves you. You must discipline your emotions to work for you rather than against you. You must discipline your actions to align with your values. You must discipline your words to reflect your integrity. This discipline is not restrictive, it's liberating. It frees you from being enslaved by impulses, emotions, and external pressures. When you master yourself, you inspire others to master themselves. Your calm presence gives others permission to find their own peace. Your emotional stability provides a model for others to follow. Your self-control demonstrates what's possible. You become a living example of what it means to operate from a place of power rather than powerlessness. Tishi final transformation into you and to touchable power year. This is where everything comes together. This is where detach, stay calm, let them wonder transforms from strategy to ID&T. This is where you stop doing these things and start being someone who embodies these principles. This is where you develop what I call untouchable power, a strength that cannot be diminished by others, a peace that cannot be disturbed by circumstances, and a confidence that cannot be shaken by criticism. Untouchable power means you're no longer affected by other people's moods. Their bad day doesn't become your bad day. Their stress doesn't become your stress. Their drama doesn't become your problem. You maintain your emotional equilibrium regardless of the emotional chaos around you. You become like a mountain unmoved by the storms that rage around IT. When you possess untouchable power, you stop taking things personally. You understand that other people's behavior is about them, not you. Their criticism reveals their character, not yours. Their rejection reflects their limitations, not your value. Their negativity exposes their issues, not your flaws. This understanding liberates you from the exhausting need to defend, explain, or justify yourself. Untouchable power also means your self-worth is incurable. You don't need other people's approval to feel valuable. You don't need external validation to know your worth. You don't need constant praise to maintain your confidence. Your value is inherent, not assigned by other ends. This inner security makes you genuinely ADDR activated because desperation repels, while confidence ADDR activates. People with untouchable power move differently through the world. They walk with quiet confidence. They speak with measured wisdom. They act with purposeful intention. They don't need to announce their presence because their presence announces IT self. They don't need to demand attention because their energy naturally draws attention. They don't need to prove their worth because their worth is evident. This power is untouchable because it comes from within. External circumstances cannot diminish IT. Other people's opinions cannot destroy IT. Temporary setbacks cannot eliminate IT. It's a renewable resource that gets stronger with USE. It's a flame that burns brighter when challenged by wind. It's a foundation that becomes more solid under pressure. When you develop untouchable power, you become selective about everything. Your thoughts, your emotions, your responses, your relationships, your investments of time and energy. You understand that everything you allow into your life either adds to your power or subtracts from IT. You choose to surround yourself with people who enhance your energy rather than drain it. You engage in activities that build your strength rather than deplete IT. You think thoughts that empower you rather than limit you. The ultimate expression of untouchable power is not needing to use it. When you truly possess this power, you rarely need to display IT. Your presence is enough to command respect. Your calm is enough to influence situations. Your silence is enough to communicate weapons. You operate from such a place of inner strength that external force becomes unnecessary. Right now, you stand at a crossroads. You can continue living as you have, reacting to every provocation, chasing every opportunity for approval, explaining yourself to every critic, allowing other people's emotions to determine your mood. Or you can choose the path of power. You can learn to detach from what doesn't serve you. You can master the art of staying calm regardless of circumstances. Nances, you can embrace the magnetic power of letting people wonder. This transformation won't happen overnight. It requires practice, patience, and persistence. There will be times when you slip back into old patterns. There will be moments when you react instead of respond. There will be situations that test your commitment to staying calm. But each time you choose detachment over attachment, calm over chaos, mystery over explanation, you grow stronger. Each time you let people wonder, instead of desperately explaining yourself, you reclaim a piece of your power. The world needs people who have mastered the mess leaves. The world needs individuals who can remain calm in the midst of chaos. The world needs leaders who can detach from drama and focus on what truly matters. The world needs you to develop your untouchable power, not just for your own benefit, but for the benefit of everyone whose life you touch. So make the choice right now. Decide that you will no longer be controlled by other people's emotions. Decide that you will no longer chase validation from people who don't value you. Decide that you will no longer explain yourself to those who have already made up their minds about you. Decide that you will detach from what drains you, stay calm in all circumstances, and let people wonder, while you focus on becoming the powerful, centered, authentic person you were meant to be. Your transformation starts now. Your power is waiting to be claimed. Your peace is ready to be discovered. Detach from what doesn't serve you. Stay calm in the midst of any storm. Let them wonder while you become you and unstoppable. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your chance to step into the untouchable power that has always been yours. Now go claim it.